All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Rasta versus Ballhead. Today we have Akil O'Connor. And just you do the honors and tell us who you are and who you work with, Akil.
All right, so good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. Shout out to the FGC, of course. Now, my name is Akil O'Connor, as Panda said. And Panda, please give me 2 minutes because I'm going to do the whole introduction. That'll be 3 minutes. So please bear with me. All right, so for those who don't know, I have been involved in the fighting game community as well as the esports community for 20 years. Because a lot of people are not aware 20 years ago, there was esports in Trinidad and Tobago, starting with GAT and Trini Gamers. So I am from the old years. So over the years, I was a player at first. A lot of people think I'm a Smash player. That is very incorrect. I am not a Smasher host. Real people is like, that is a Smash man. Guys, I am not a Smasher. I've played Street Fighter competitively. I entered Street Fighter 2 tournaments, Alpha 3 tournaments, CVS 2. I was Street Fighter 4. So I've been competitive in Street Fighter actually longer than Smash. I started playing Smash in Smash 4. Just for the record. I've also played Call of Duty, I've played StarCraft, I've played Warcraft 3. When I mean competitively, I'm talking about ranked and local tournaments. I've also played Dota 1. For those who don't know, that was before it had the Dota 2 engine and the Warcraft 3 engine. So I've been gaming for a long time. Outside of being a player, then I transitioned to being a tournament organizer where I started doing work with 3D Gamers. And I was working with 3D Gamers for a couple of years. For those who don't know, 3D Gamers was one of the non-profit organizations that was, I would say, one of the more prominent organizations that assisted with information and tournaments in Trinidad and Tobago. After work with 3D Gamers, then I proceeded to do work on my own because one of the things I kept saying is I always wanted to try to improve the esports landscape. And I kept saying, instead of criticizing people, because we criticize people, we say, this person isn't doing this. We should be doing that. So I took it upon myself to try my hand. So what I proceeded with then, I founded, or one of the co-founders of Paradigm Electronic Gaming. Now, a lot of people have been missed. For those who are aware what Paradigm is or was, Paradigm was actually a consultancy company so Paradigm wasn't a TU or tournament organizer. Paradigm was not supposed to throw events. Paradigm was designed to assist organizers in Trinidad and Tobago to improve their organization. So, for example, things like Chrono Fantasy, ESCL, we did work with them on in their infrastructure with sponsor relations, marketing, even how to improve tournaments or breaking down the data. That was work we did. And what is going on currently in 2023, especially right now in the FGC, I think, Paradigm was a couple of years too early, unfortunately, because Paradigm unfortunately didn't survive COVID. It was shut down in the middle of it. After Paradigm, then during COVID, I actually was interviewed by the US State Department to be part of the International Visitor Leadership Program. Now, what short for IVLP? Now, what IVLP is, it actually every year is a different topic. And specifically, the one I went up for was stream and entrepreneurship, or actually education and esports. For those who don't know, I'm also a teacher. I'm a high school teacher. Some people say high school, middle school. I'm an SCA teacher. I teach standard 4 and standard 5. So when I went for IVLP, it was actually on stream and entrepreneurship or education and esports. As luck would have it, I'm involved in esports and I'm a teacher. So I had to do about 4 rounds of interviews. And when I did all 4 rounds of interviews, now IVLP, when you represent your country in IVLP, you're actually a part of the Caribbean and South America. And after I did my interviews, they gave me the title of being an esports expert because every question they asked me, I could have answered about infrastructure, about development, about history. So they was like, you have a wealth of esports knowledge. So when I represented Trinidad during IVLP, I was every time we went because it was COVID, I couldn't go to America, obviously. So it was a virtual experience. Terrible. But when we did all the virtual tours and we spoke to people from Epic Games and we spoke to some of the varsity esports teams, they kept pushing. Everybody was like, send Akil to answer. And some of those people were like, where are you getting these questions from? So through that experience, I actually gained a wealth of knowledge, not only through networking, but also through going to some of their um, promotional events. And at that promotional event is where I stumbled across Scholastic Esports. Because even as an esports expert, I never heard that term before. And very simply, Scholastic Esports is education in esports, research papers, curriculum, specialists in health and wellness, specialists in career development, specialists in kinetic movements. So when I was introduced to Scholastic Esports, that's where I decided to focus my efforts on. Because also as a teacher, I strongly believe the youth is the future. Our generation is old. Our generation started 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Our generation is old. And the new generation, esports has changed. Over the years, the esports model has changed. So where now we have to accept COD Mobile as a esport. We have to accept Minecraft Bed Wars as an esport, which is some people is like, and I'm sure some people listen to this are shocked. Yeah, you all didn't know that, right? Minecraft Bed Wars is an esport title. That is crazy. And through my work with Scholastic Esports, I'm working with an organization called NASEF. And NASEF is one of the is it is the prominent global body in charge of Scholastic Esports. And currently, I am the ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean, as well as I co-founded the Scholastic Esports Research Center, which helps to develop and implement Scholastic Esports programs in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. That was way more than 3 minutes. I apologize.
It was more than 3 minutes. I was tempted to cut you off, but you were speaking well. You were giving very relevant information that everybody here would like to know. So based on
Thank
what
you
you
for letting me
just
cook.
yeah. He does need that time to cook sometimes. So okay. I'll just skip over some questions here because you answer a lot. So okay, so you said you have information or knowledge on the infrastructure of esports in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you think we have sufficient infrastructure? What is infrastructure for esports?
My question to you is, which parts of esports are we talking about? Because, and that's a very, and what you just said, Panda, is something that I have observed about not only Trinidad and Tobago, about the Caribbean, that we actually don't understand. When I mean we, I mean the larger public, we don't understand the ecosystem that is esports. So my question to you, Panda, is can you name 4 parts of the esports ecosystem or what you think is part of the ecosystem?
Akil, well, before this interview, you said you were
Aha.
prepared. I never told you that I was prepared because I am
Well,
not prepared to
and
answer
that's why
this
I'm
question.
and that's why I'm putting you on the spot because you represent the I would actually say you represent the more educated part of the East West community. That's why I'm putting you on the spot. I really want to see. So you represent the team. So can you name 4 parts of the esports ecosystem?
I cannot. Can you bless us with your knowledge? I'm not even going to attempt to.
Sure. You actually do know it, you know. And the thing
I
is,
might know it, but
even though we use some of these formal terms, it's and as I started listening to people and be like, but Akil, I know this. So one is the players, two is the organizer. Now, the organizer and the tournament organizer sometimes are not the same thing. So sometimes you have to be specific. So organizer, organizer, tournament organizer, media staff, because
one
media is not
second though.
is
Sorry. I
sure.
feel I might need
No
to stop you
problem.
for a second. Tristan,
No
can you
problem.
just double check that people can hear us on the stream?
Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah,
scary.
there's people saying no audio.
Oh no, that was real talking.
Don't worry, Akil, we're recording locally, so we could always get it back.
That's much appreciated, Panda.
Yes, we recording. In fact, let's just keep going, and people just have to be updated on the
Oh, people who watching it live.
yeah, we'll have to
Okay.
be re-up with the re-upload afterwards. 'Cause I don't want to really lose momentum.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you're trying to keep the ball rolling,
Yeah,
Panda.
yeah. So
Okay, so for those
players and
Mhm.
well, is that players,
All
and
right.
that's all I got. I got distracted.
Okay, so we're talking about the esports ecosystem. So internationally, when internationally, when you speak to someone about esports, you have to be very specific to what part you play or your role in esports. Now, one of the good things that NASEF did is that NASEF kind of made it
Sorry, I feel
child-friendly.
a bit lost. So we talk about
So,
the four parts of the four parts of the
oh,
infrastructure.
there's more than four, but I'll try to simplify it.
Okay, okay. Continue then.
Okay, so when we're talking about East, especially because we are all professionals, we're all enthusiasts, and I know in 2024, there's going to be a big push in Trinidad and Tobago to get out there. Now, when we get out there, it's very important we know what our role in esports is. Because usually when you talk to someone, they say, hey, I'm part of esports. They ask, which part are you in? So here are some of the different parts in esports. The player, the tournament organizer, media. Now, when we mean media, we mean recording staff. So that could be, and the media staff is not the streamer. That's not the same thing. Media is picture and video. The photographer, videographer. Pardon my language. Photographer, videographer. Also, there's a streamer. Now, outside of that's the people for the event itself. Outside of that, there's outside stakeholders. Now, the outside stakeholders would be the corporate entities. So, who do you have a direct sponsorship with? And then also, are you affiliated or do you have a larger partner? Partner. Yeah.
So a quick question. How deep is your knowledge on corporate sponsorship? I don't want to get too deep into it right now because I'm hoping that could be an entire episode because
Oof. Yeah.
it's something that is very important. So do you have a
It's
wealth of
relevant.
knowledge on that to cover a
I
while, or should we kind of just break down something right now? If it's a lot, I don't want to cover it right now.
It
Because
will
that
be a lot. If you get into
well
corporate
we
sponsorship is also dependent.
well we could do that another time, right?
Yes, but yes, corporate
Um
sponsorship is important and it's extremely relevant to the esports and Trinidad and Tobago conversation.
all right, well, we'll definitely have you back on our next time to discuss that and maybe one other topic. So in Scholastic Esports,
Scholastic esports.
would that go from primary school all the way to young adulthood or maybe even adulthood?
Correct. Now, with Scholastic esports, the beauty of Scholastic esports is education could fall in any age group. Elementary. No, I'll use American and Trinidad terms for any international viewers over there. So elementary would be um, elementary, middle school or primary school, high school or secondary school, university, or even outreach or after school programs. We would call them as community centers. Well, we refer to as community centers. And at any level, you can implement esports. In fact, just at the event I went to, there was an elementary esports event. Pan, you can believe that? 4, 5, and 6 year olds playing competitive gaming. That's real. Over 100 people.
Okay, okay, that's very interesting because I have well, as we grow older, we tend to know more and more people with children, and I know my I'll call him a nephew, but it's not blood, but that the youth man real good in Fortnite. I have never seen somebody that age better than me at such a great margin, and it's only like 6, and yeah, people
Hmm.
complaining online.
Does
Yeah,
he
he's very
use
good.
a mobile controller? Like where you
No, he
connect the
uses
controller
the
to?
Switch directly Switch, and he
Oh, on
plays
Switch,
good,
yeah.
plays very well.
Wow.
Okay, so sorry, I'm still getting messages where people saying they can't hear, but that's fine. Love to get the
Oh no.
re-upload.
To the stream
Uh,
monsters, really apologize when you
yes, yes,
rewatch it.
yes.
We were live all the time. We were here. We were here.
Hmm. Akil, you're answering questions so well that I getting lost with how with asking these
You
questions. So, can
listen.
you tell me more about the North
Okay.
American Scholastic Esports Federation? You said you are one of the ambassadors.
Correct. So
Okay.
NASEF or the North America, well, actually, they actually rebranded, actually.
Oh,
So they're actually no longer, no, it only happened this year. It's very recent.
no. When
Uh-huh.
you said it earlier, I definitely misspelled that.
No, don't worry. And you're definitely not wrong for not knowing because no, and I'll actually explain why the name change is so important. Now it's not the North American Scholastic Esports Federation, it's the network of Scholastic East. So the NA changed. And here's the reason why. Because when you say North America, there's a connotation it's only in America. NASEF is not only America. NASEF is the Americas, North America, South America, and the Caribbean, Africa, Europe, and Japan. There are Scholastic Esports Club. I'm talking about over 500 Scholastic Esports Club in America alone. Right now, there's about 300 plus in Japan. There's several, there's over 100 in Europe. NASEF is all over. And while they do work primarily in schools, primary, secondary, or middle school, high school, and so on, universities, another thing that's very relevant to our conversation, especially the FGC, is NASEF is actually they are currently partnered with the IESF, the International Esports Federation, in terms of bringing education to athletes. Because did you know, Panda, in order to be eligible for the Olympics, esports to be recognized, there needs to be an education element.
I have
Did you
no
know that?
idea. No.
Yes, so that's actually one of the reasons why esports is not in the East Olympics right now, because it's not a discipline, because there isn't enough research and education behind it. So right now, NASEF has they officially signed the white paper. For those who are not involved with the terminology, that means it's the certified copy or the certified agreement of the preliminary talks to go forward. And that's a huge deal, a very huge deal. So NASEF is doing all those things. They're working in schools. They're working with the IESF currently. They are partnered with them. They are currently in charge of the UESF, the United States Esports Federation, and they are working actively with the International Olympic Committee to get esports as a recognized sport. It's a lot NASEF does.
Okay, and just for clarification, who is the IESF?
The International Esports Federation. There are two global esport bodies, two main ones to be particular. There's the IESF and the GESF, the International Esports Federation and the Global Esports Federation.
And the IESF, they are responsible for integrating different communities within the Olympics. No, they're saying not with the Olympics right now, but they are international games. They're already international games. So that would be the responsibility of the IESF and the GESF?
The IESF and the GSF are two separate entities, unfortunately. That's how the world works. But the IESF in particular, every year I believe since COVID had ended, they have had an international event where it's an international event. So all member countries, what they're supposed to do is in their region or whatever, it'll be their region, there's regional qualifiers. And then once you complete your regional qualifier, then you qualify for the international events.
Okay, so get on from that point. I believe you watched the interview we had with the Esports Federation of Trinidad and Tobago.
I did.
Yeah, you hear me?
I did. I am hearing you.
Yes. So do you have any comments on that, in particular some of the answers to some of the questions that we asked? Let's say the question that the majority of the FGC has, the Street Fighter part in particular, that's the part I communicated most with. They had an issue with being a closed network. I'm not really particularly sure what that means based on their business registration
model.
Model. Thank you. I need to do some more research on it. I didn't get time. I have a friend, RB. He withholding some of the information for fun.
Shout out to RB.
Shout out to RB. Shout out to Trini Gamers, even though the closed down.
He's a good one.
Yeah. So do you have any comments on that and how Trinidad can move forward with them or without them? Or maybe both?
Okay, so let me start with a blanket statement. FGC, you're going to hate me, but everything Mr.
Akil,
Charles said in his
I'm very happy you said that because they just hate me too.
I'll take it. It's fine. It's fine. Some people know me, some people don't know me, and it's okay. And I'm here to tell you that Mr. Kwesi Charles, he is correct about 75% of the things he said. He's not completely correct. However, he gave a lot of information. He fully explained what the Federation is. He fully explained how it operates. He fully explained the parameters in which they operated. So I did not have an issue with most things he said. in pertaining to general esports. Now, note, you said specifically the FGC, and this is where I disagree with what he was saying. So, the Esports Federation, there's nothing wrong with the Federation. The Federation has to exist for us as Trinidad and Tobago to be a part of the IESF and the GESF. In fact, so NASF, as I mentioned before, is a part of the IESF, and they were very pleased to see Trinidad and Tobago representation at the IESF events. They reached out to me, they said, Akil, they would love for you to be there. That's a different story. But as I said, in order for us to even be eligible, we do need a working federation. So to be fair, the federation works. But in terms of the FGC, this way going to get a little dicey. Panda, do you have any specific questions you're going to ask me about this? Because I can answer this.
Well, people have had an issue that they said they are a closed community. Because for one, I'm impatient. I'm a man of action, which is part of the reason we have this show. Yeah.
Panda, I didn't answer. I didn't answer your original, I didn't answer your original question, which was you asked specifically, why is it a closed group? And I didn't answer that. I apologize. So I can actually answer that. Now, when you are starting an even let's just say Panda, let's use me and you, Fig and Panda. So we start an organization. When we start, we share our knowledge. Hey, Panda, you handle this. I go and handle this. We know we could trust each other. We know what we could handle. When you bring outsiders in, it's very difficult to know what they could do or can't do. You could always screen someone, but a preliminary interview may not always reveal who they are and what they bring to the table. So when Kwesi mentioned it's a closed group because they know what they bring to the table with each other, those members in the group currently. And that's why he mentioned at the start it was closed and eventually it will be open. Now, whether I agree or disagree with is a different story, but that is the explanation for why.
Okay, that's very good. I think, well, when we re-upload this, everybody will be interested to hear that. I'm not sure if they'll be happy.
Yeah, but, I mean, like I said, it's not the answer we want, but it is a legitimate reason.
I am fine with the answer because I understood that when I got pushed back, I got peer pressured into maybe bending how I think about it because I initially agreed with it, but when people kept saying is that issue, I began to think about it a little bit more. But I understand what you're saying.
No, Panda.
Yes,
I want to address something directly. You know, I jump in the interview. Because I've seen the groups, I've seen the messages, I know what's happening. Now, the FGC is not pleased because Mr. Charles would have made several statements directly addressing the FGC, saying the FGC is unstructured. The FGC doesn't have a leader. The FGC doesn't have backing and so on. Am I correct so far, Panda? Yes, I don't want to misrepresent anybody.
This was the next question I was going to ask as well.
Okay.
So continue.
Right. So Mr. Charles said some things directly to the FGC, saying they need to step up. They need to do several things. They need to show the federation that they're worthy. Am I correct? If I'm misrepresenting, please stop me.
I believe the phrasing of worthy, that's a strong word.
Okay, he didn't say that. I apologize, Mr. Charles. No. He did not say that.
No, but
really
even
apologize.
with Houghton saying that, you might want to watch your back when men like Marcus walking around and say,
Mr. Shout out call the Turtle.
Yeah,
he was and is one of our top players represented many times. Definitely. The Turtle and the Kraken. Yeah, them they real out there.
Yeah, so people who have that issue with calling that worthy. But
here's the thing. So in direct response to what Mr. Charles said, Panda, I know you don't want to hear it, huh? You know he's correct, right?
I agree with you. I've just been more diplomatic with trying to deal with it.
No, here's the thing, Panda. This conversation we're having, we're trying to I'm all about education. Anybody who knows me personally, I'm all about educating people because when you educate a population or you educate people, you're teaching people how to fish. I'm a fisherman. I can't be eating alone. Everybody eat too. So all of we can eat. So this conversation is just about trying to make people understand. Now, I never said, no, I want to be very clear, because at the start I said, be very clear. my opinion is my opinion. I never said my opinion is right. I'm not, but I could explain. No, Mr. Charles is correct. And here's how I'm gonna show something. So Panda, we're gonna role play. I am from America. I'm from Texas. I'm a millionaire. I'm real people, and I want to jump out in the Trinidad FGC. You, you are the president of the Trinidad FGC, right?
Yes.
You have 1 minute to answer my questions. So I want to do a 128-man event. Who is providing the resources, the equipment? You have 1 minute to answer for
Akil.
128-man tournament.
Okay. I wish I could have answered this off stream because I'm not gonna say what I want to say and what I would say in that meeting because amount of thunder I will get. And I already get thunder for different reasons. And I'm
That's okay.
outspoken. I'm not afraid of the thunder,
That's okay. That's okay. Okay.
so
Okay, here's my
basically,
next
let me say,
question.
okay, so I would say
Mhm.
we have some TOs, we have X, Y, and Z. I am as the president of the FGC, I know them well, and I know that I can get their cooperation. What else do we need? We have players, we have
Okay.
a bunch of top players, we have
Now,
documented who are
sir,
the strongest
before we
players.
start, now,
Yes.
so while it is commendable, you will have players from my statistics. I mean, from my little statistics, from my statistics, you'll have a very healthy player base over 1,000 persons. That's excellent. But the thing is, before we move on from the resort, I need a quote from your organization or your organizational structure on the resources. Who is providing me with that quote?
I will provide you with it.
Okay, I'm glad we got through that hurdle. Now, for a 128-person event, this could possibly be a 2-day event. It could be 1 day, but you know what? It could be possibly 2. So for this, require 2 minimum commentary teams. Can you provide me the names of 8 commentators for we're using the game Street Fighter 6? Can you provide me with 8 commentators?
Yes, I can. You want them right now?
So you
I can give
scratch
you
your
right
eye.
now.
So you scratch your eye. You have
No,
1
yes.
minute. I'm a busy man. I'm from Texas. I make oil money.
No, definitely I can, but I kind of should I say that I kind of bullshitting, but I know I could come through because I know the community well enough, so I know I could come through, but I partially bullshitting. But
Okay, so I
Akil,
have one more question.
let's
One
push
more question,
along.
sorry.
Yeah, continue.
But sorry, but do you understand why I'm asking these questions,
Yes,
right?
I understand why you're asking the questions.
Why am I asking these questions, Panda?
Because we need
Tell me why I'm asking these questions.
we need to be organized. We need to be structured. We need that organization so we know what the hell going on. Because in a large way, we've been running around like chickens with our head cut off. We have some strong leaders in the community, but some people don't see them as leaders. They're not leaders for everybody. Some people
here's what I'll say.
One of our best deals, like a lot of the people new in the community, sees Joey Gruff as a strong leader. Ironically, a lot of people in the community don't see him as a leader. So there's a lot of there's a different messages you get from within the community, with outside the community, the legacy community, and whatnot. So we need more organization to, even if we disagree, to have a unified message regardless.
No, Panda, allow me to go on a mini rant because I've seen the time expiring, but the mini rant will be until the time we can reconnect, right? Let me say something here. Now, Mr. Charles is incorrect in saying the FGC is disorganized. In fact, the FGC is extremely organized. And here's something else, because some people think it's a message of doom and gloom. And no, that's far from it. Guys, for those listening, our Trini FGC, where they smash Tekken, Street Fighter series, and so on, we are actually above the international level. You know? Yes, quote me on saying that. Yes, me, I said it. I have seen several other FGCs in other countries, in other continents, in terms of the equipment we use, how we carry ourselves, even the tech we speak about. Guys, we are notches above everybody else, you know. So the problem is we are actually putting ourselves in a third world bubble. This isn't about we can't match the world. In fact, we are on par internationally. That is a fact. And we don't realize that. We don't have faith in ourselves. But what is happening is we are actually gatekeeping our own selves in our own little niches. What has to happen is because as Panda correctly said, we have strong leaders. We have different people operating in the Tekken scene. We have people doing multi-game tournaments. And unfortunately, what's happening is because it's so segmented and fragmented, we don't have specialists. We have generalists. And in the world of international esports, what some people may not realize is it isn't generalist. So, for example, in North America, one of the biggest providers of hardware and as well as tournament, not even, I would simply say hardware, is Gaming Generations. You could research that. Gaming Generations, they specifically focus on supplying hardware and technical setup. So they're not doing the TOs, they're not running the events. Someone as Jabali, I know you all know that name, who runs CEO. He's on TO. He has a team of he has a team of referees under him. They specifically deal with tournament registration, tournament management. So they're not doing the hardware. Even the commentators, they are specialists. So what we have to do as the FGC is we have to identify who has what role. And I know for some people that's hard because some people saying, hey, I have an organization. I want my organization to be represented. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, there has to be somebody, some people have to be willing to take a back seat. I know that's hard. Some people will be like, but Fig, on Akil, I jump out my money. Well, okay, we can rotate. And communication. Our biggest issue in the Trinidad fighting game community is communication because it's not possible that we have all these possible subgroups and we don't have a direct line of communication. And that's what Mr. Charles was addressing. That's what he was. Now, he didn't say it that way, but that's what he was trying to explain. We have to communicate. We have to unite. We have to share resources. We have to be able to identify who is a specialist. We have to be able to have a working directory of who we are, and what we are about. Because all these things exist. We have photographers, we have videographers, we have equipment across different people, we have commentators, we have strong leaders. And also, my last part of the rant is we can't, even though the federation exists, just like the government, we had to stop crying to them. We had to step up. I know some people, and this is, I know you'll have follow-up questions, Pan, and I have a problem with that. The thing is, as a community, we can do a lot of things on our own because we have been doing things on our own. We've always been doing things on our own. It's just that it's not structured. But the thing, and we have to stop because I saw someone post, I think it was you, Panda, who say why there isn't a federation website. And my question was, Panda, why isn't there FGC website?
Because we aren't organized. That's part of my plan. If you saw my long letter,
I study letter, like, no, and I commend that.
That's just probably saying 1%
of people read. I just pointing out the same way we jamming them. My question is, why don't we have a website? Because we have a Twitter page, which is all well and good. I know is there a static website for the FGCTT? If I'm not mistaken, like a static web page or something like
that? I asked about that website, and I don't want to put the person on the spot. When I spoke to the person,
don't do that. Don't do it.
No, I'm not saying anything. When I spoke to the person, you know who I'm talking about. I could take a little jam from him. When I spoke to the person, I know who deals with the website. I thought it was his website because I was asking for some space on the website. But I've sent her this thing me and Tristan are doing, but just for some knowledge base on there. He said he doesn't own the website. He didn't tell me who owned the website after that, so I just killed it there and decided to either crowdfund for the website, which isn't much because I'll build the website, so that's probably like $500, and yeah, go from there because I don't like to depend. Dependent is the wrong word. I don't like to beg. I want to give value and I want to deliver, and I don't like to wait. I like action. So yeah.
Akil, I'm literally time. Just to wrap up what I was just saying in a nutshell and have your next question when we reconnect. What I'm trying to say is the Trinity FGC is strong. The Trinity FGC has a lot of resources. The Trinity FGC is above or at par the international level. Or what is coming down to now, and this is why I'm posting it to you all who are watching. Can we communicate with one another? Can we collaborate with one another? And you all who are listening, can you identify with one of the roles? Are you a player specifically? Are you a commentator specifically? Are you a TO specifically? Are you into the hardware specifically? So that's my message to them. Let's
All
get
right,
organized. Let's
Akil.
get united.
I,
Yeah.
I, I hope this is not one of the best interviews that we've had. This is our second interview, and
No, we coming back. We
you're
coming
coming out
back, right?
hard,
We coming
boy.
back.
Akil,
We
you have
coming
to be a
back.
regular guest because you have a wealth of knowledge. But before it cut off,
I'm trying.
thank you very much, and we'll definitely reconnect. And I think that's it. So thank you.